Good afternoon, Devin. How are you doing?
I'm doing really good, James. How about yourself?
I'm doing fantastic. So I'm reporting live from the Vancouver office. Devin's reporting live from the Edmonton office. And we're here today to talk about a topic that I think is going to be super handy, not only for consumers, but also for our realtor friends. We're here to talk about open houses. Now, Devin, I understand today you did something that's a little more innovative, but also becoming more commonplace in today's COVID world. And that was a virtual open house. So tell me a little bit about it. How did it go? How did you plan it? And how did you manage the guests at the open house?
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, I would believe that virtual open houses are a great example of something that was brought to prominence during the world of COVID, but will not be going away because of convenience. So because in Alberta, we still are restricted from doing open houses. That might not necessarily be where it is in other parts of the country, but certainly still in Alberta. We're looking for new ways to bring the properties to the masses, to let people know what they're about. So we've chosen a virtual open house concept. We've tried it a couple of different ways, previously on Zoom. The one today was using StreamYard, which is what we're using actually right now for the two of us to talk. And then it goes out on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. First off, it sure helps if you've got an amazing person to produce it, which is our marketing person, Jen Nielsen. So thank you so much to Jen. That's certainly
shout out, Jen.
Absolutely. Huge shout out to Jen. And as with anything, any type of event, you need to let people know what's happening. And so Jen did a tremendous amount of work in pre-promoting it. So it was featured on our Mogul Facebook page. We captured that, on and on about that. It's really important to plan the event. And again, this is from a realtor standpoint because we really want to showcase the event. So we planned it for 30 minutes. We started in one section. It's basically $1 million condo overlooking Rogers Place.
Beautiful.
In Edmonton. Yeah, spectacular views. And thankfully the sun came out just in time for us to be on there. And we just basically showed the amazing views and took a tour around the property and just talked about the building itself, the features of the condo, and obviously the amazing area being close to Rogers Place and McEwen and all that stuff. So we had quite a few people watching it. A few people liked it. A few people made some comments, and we'll follow up with those that have some interest.
Amazing. Now, let's talk about this from the perspective of the home shopper. For those of you out there who are thinking, my gosh, driving around to open houses is fun, but going to open houses from the comfort of my living room and not even having to put on a pair of darn pants while I do it sounds pretty sweet. So, Devin, where can people who want to attend virtual open houses find them?
Yeah, so people that have been promoting them quite well, you should be able to see them pull up on any one of your social media feeds. People that are pretty aggressive in regards to promoting will have them on Instagram. They'll have them on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. Those are kind of the big four. And then also potentially on YouTube as well.
Got it. And we're also putting on realtor.ca. So for people who are poking around on realtor.ca, you might actually see a link to a virtual open house as well. Is that what we're seeing?
Absolutely. Of course, that probably should have been the first place I suggested is realtor.ca. And that's another thing as well that's been great in regards to the real estate industry, the support from realtor.ca, CREA area, our associations, right, is that they're all working towards trying to make this easier. Obviously, from a production standpoint, we're as realtors trying to put our best foot forward in regards to really being able to capture the essence. And that lends itself as well, just sorry to go a little bit off of open houses, but I've done this as well now several times. We've got some out-of-town investor clients, and there was a gentleman that is in Peace River, and he wanted to look at a side-by-side duplex in the Terrace Heights area. And so I did a 30-minute virtual tour with him on Zoom. And the best thing of all about it, we laughed about it, is he recorded the entire thing. So he was actually able to dial in afterwards and focus very specifically on certain areas. He was commenting to me afterwards about all these things that he saw on the property that I didn't even notice, because I'm walking around with my selfie stick and my phone looking at, okay, what else does he want to see? And he was able to slow it right down. And he told me, again, it was about a half hour on Zoom. And he spent another 30 minutes afterwards just really dialing in on certain things. So that's another new service that realtors are able to provide in this new world of COVID.
Oh, that's so cool. And yeah, I mean, it's convenient. He doesn't have to drive down from Peace River just to take a look at one property.
That's exactly right. It was fantastic. And again, I love the idea that he recorded it so that he was able to, and when you think about it, especially from somebody going from house to house to house in an open house, you probably would like to be able to say, geez, we've been to 5 houses this afternoon. What did that first place look like? Now, a lot of people will come in, and that would be definitely something that when we are back to doing open houses, I would certainly recommend. And I see that when I'm hosting open houses where people coming in, taking pictures on their phone and doing some video. Definitely recommend that, because it's difficult to remember those first couple houses when you are out shopping at 4 or 5.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Now, to keep thinking about this from the consumer's perspective, if you're a consumer looking at an open house, like, you know, it's pretty common to just poke around the house, look around, or when there's a video tour going on, watch the video tour. I mean, at that point, you know, it's home and garden television. You're just
Yeah.
having a peek. But if you're a serious consumer thinking about, you know, comparing apples to apples, what would you recommend a buyer ask a realtor at an open house to gain true insight on that property and learn more about it than just meets the eye from looking at the visuals?
Well, my first thought, when actually, funny enough, whenever people want to start asking properties, because I continue to see it more often, is I would actually ask questions first and foremost about the area. Um, Time and time again, people get focused on the property, but they don't know whether or not it's truly an area. They you know, some people have done the research, of course, but a lot of people, it's so much more about, you know, I want this in my property. This is what I want. It's got to be a double garage and all that stuff. You know, well, where do you want to live? Well, you know, somewhere on the north side. Well, the north side of Edmonton is pretty big. You know, I will encourage people to, and so coming back to asking the realtor, you know, ask in regards to if they know about, you know, schools that are close by and parks and amenities, and, you know, how long does it take to get to the Anthony Henday from this area, if that's an important part to get to your job. So area would be first. Second of all, in regards to you certainly want to know in regards to what sort of improvements have been done to the house. So hopefully the realtor has that information. That they don't always have it, but a good realtor will certainly take your name and number down and follow up with you to give you those answers. How old is the furnace? How old is the hot water tank? Any idea in regards to the roof? Those are the things that ultimately aren't sexy, but they are obviously extremely vital in regards to knowing that you got yourself a good property.
Absolutely, extremely vital. Now, one of the benefits to attending the virtual open house live, I would guess, as opposed to watching the recording after, is that you can actually interact with the realtor who's hosting the open house. So, you know, for someone that's attending a virtual open house, is it acceptable to ask them to kind of interrupt the tour to go back and look at another thing? Or what, you know, what's your opinion on being interactive with the realtor when you're attending a virtual open house?
Well, you do want to try to make it as you want to make it as interactive as possible, and you want to be able to make the best decision possible. So by all means, I mean, we love feedback when we're hosting a live open house. We want people coming in to be very interactive with us, ask questions, don't be shy, and that would definitely be the same thing in regards to virtual. I know that depending on the type, because right now there's no set way, so different people, you know, we in StreamYard. Some people might just simply be doing a straight on Facebook Live. The realtor might not always be able to get back to you right away, but certainly if you can't direct interact with them, then definitely put some chats in the chat box, or reach out to them through whatever channel you're watching it on, Facebook and stuff like that. Because believe me, the realtor will definitely get back to you to answer those questions. And if it's possible to go back and you know, if there's a direct live interaction to go back, by all means, the realtor would love to do that.
Totally. That makes perfect sense. Now let's cap it off by, just talking to our realtor friends who are tuning in. So hello, realtor friends, for those of you watching. What advice can we give our colleagues now that you've done a few virtual open houses? Like, what are the things that have worked really well, and what are the things that you've improved upon from virtual to virtual?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm probably actually going to just reiterate. I watched a lot of video. There's a tremendous amount of information on YouTube. So definitely go there. I would say, take an hour and watch the various ones. But the common themes that I got from it was, first and foremost, make sure you plan. Understand what it is that you're going to be talking about. Ideally, even walk through the house, have a few notes and stuff like that. So that would be the first one. The second one is don't necessarily talk all the time. And again, thanks to Jen for the one today, we were able to find out through StreamYard to be able to have some music behind, because sometimes, again, with the condo, with these $1 million views, you just want to kind of take it in. You don't necessarily feel like you have to be talking all the time. And then the other thing too is, don't necessarily be feeling that you have to give too much information. You're throwing a lot at people, and so you want people to be able to absorb things, and so give them a little bit of information, have them think about it for a little bit. Maybe spend a few minutes in the room, and not going through and panning your camera too fast. And allowing people to digest the information that they're seeing through the camera.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. That's a great tip, because I've done video tours before too, and it's like, you think if you swipe your camera this fast, it catches the room, but something that's like as fast as you can look across the room with your head like that, when you put that on video, it's like a flash in the pan. So yeah. I've noticed the same thing. Like, if you're doing a pano shot, like, just super duper slow, it makes the shot way better. So great tips, Devin. And I mean, I think it's awesome that we're willing to share some of our learnings with our colleagues. So realtors, get those virtuals going. And great tips for the consumer too. I mean, if you're shopping open houses, it's one thing to show up and look and see, but it's a whole other thing to have a meaningful interaction to gain information. So Devin, thanks for taking the time to just talk about what is now probably becoming a bit more of a reality, which is these virtual open houses. And for those of you who are watching, host a great one or attend a great one. And this is James and Devin signing off on Tip Tuesday.